right, guys, back at the storage unit here with Bryan Leonard. He drove the car at Road Atlanta this past weekend.
Clearly the worst driver in the world.
And we're here, we're just going to do a little debrief, talk about what it was like being out at the racetrack, hear Bryan's perspective, respond to some of the comments. I think it's a good thing to reply to people, keep it informative and educational. Appreciate all you guys following, so
Yeah.
let's get started.
Lots of comments were made and asking questions of why we're driving 410s. Why are you sissy-footing around the track? We have an answer for that. And for starters, it's a brand new car. Now, if you had just spent a lot of money, 2 years, and I don't know, I mean, look at this. All of this hard work, would you drive 10/10 on pit out? Or would you try to make sure that the engine's working properly? I mean, who's done this? Who's done a turbo 4-rotor inside of a storage unit and spent all this time and money? So out of respect for Zach, the owner, I thought it was pretty logical to maybe not blast through turn 9 at 180 miles an hour with my hair lit on fire.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was nice. So if y'all don't think it's nice, then I don't know. I mean, you're not driving a car, so it doesn't matter. So no, anyways, we did. We went down the back straightaway. We were ripping through gears. I was short shifting just to protect the investment, make sure everything was functioning properly before we went out there and went 10/10. The deal was kind of a last minute deal, so we didn't actually get the pad compound that we wanted, so I didn't know kind of what the braking force was going to be. It's a new manual setup from Chase Bays. But during the first outing, we went and I had a low oil pressure indication coming down the hill for through turn 9, down the hill for 10A. So I came in, we talked about it. I went back out again, and same thing happened, same place, downhill. So going down maybe through turn 12, I don't think was like the greatest of ideas because it's a lot steeper than coming down turn 10. So we talked about it a few times, and then he said, go back out there, let's record it, log it, see what's going on. But again, we had a low oil pressure indication. So again, blasting through turn 9 at 150, 170, 80 miles an hour, wide open throttle with low oil pressure, we probably want to resolve that first, okay? So that's just informative. That's not me being an ass saying that all y'all are stupid for suggesting that, but that's why we made that decision.
Yeah, so all right, so first of all, I think that what people are most confused about, now obviously it's not everyone, there's a lot of great comments, a lot of great people
feedback,
and we appreciate that, but I think that there's unrealistic expectations that people have for cars they see built on the internet.
Correct.
There's a lot of claims out there that hey, this car is going to make 3,000 horsepower and it's going to be 6-wheel drive and it's going to fucking do all this stuff, and you have to walk before you can run. You don't just go to the gym and lay down and try to bench press 400 pounds unless you want to snap all your tendons and be paralyzed.
Well, absolutely.
So that's why you have what's called a shakedown. And a shakedown is a testing. The very first time you take a car out that you've been working on, and you're going to go out there and you're going to test it. And it's important that you work your way up, that the driver gets a little bit of experience with how the car feels, whether it understeers, whether it oversteers, whether the alignment is set up right, whether the brakes work, oil pressure, coolant. I mean, there's a whole hell of a lot of things that the driver has to be responsible for a shakedown. I mean, personally, I wouldn't even want to, if I was a professional driver, the last thing I'd want to do is shake down a car. I mean, it's like being a test pilot for an airplane. And when you're driving something that's, 1,000 horsepower, and you're having to look at all these gauges and all these indicators, and be on comms talking to the people back at the pits, and pay attention to everyone else out on the track, and you got an audience out there, that's watching and expecting.
On a car
it's
like
like
this.
You're managing this entire orchestra yourself. So, I got to give you props because as soon as you saw that oil pressure light, it wasn't even 3 seconds. You were in neutral, you rolled off the track. And
correct.
It was time to look at the logs and figure it out. And all it needed was an extra quart of oil. I mean, we were a little bit low on capacity.
Again, and that's when we went back on there. So we only completed, we did an outlap, came in, did an outlap. And then we came in that time. And we had some things that we had to take care of on the vehicle. And we got one more session by the end of the day. It's all we had left. So what you saw in the video, we did a couple of laps just to verify. That's why I'm lifting going to 9. I'm like, okay, I don't know if the oil pressure is going to be where it needs to be, but let's not be 100% throttle. Putting a lot of lateral acceleration in the car, then a lot of longitudinal acceleration down a hill, which is where it was already bad and wide open throttle. So I tested that a couple times and down the hill for turn 12 to ensure that we had what we needed. So after I knew that we had what we needed, I said, okay, look, this is going to be our lap. So I was going to come back down the hill, and that's when the waving yellow and everything else happened, and the day was over. But overall, it was a success. We knew that we were going to make that lap that time. And then I also caught some flack for stopping on the track. And again, I think it's just people reaching, you know, and like you said, I like to respond to people because, I mean, I don't want to just sit behind and not say anything to anybody. And if y'all have things that you want to say, like, we should respond to you and like at least inform me as to what we were doing. So someone gave me a little bit of crap for stopping on the track to check a fellow driver. He asked, how did I know if you know, how many cars were on track? It was the last session of the day. We knew exactly how many cars were on grid, 5 including me. I'd already passed 2 initially, but anyways, we're coming down the hill. There's a Miata. We caught the Miata. We're traveling about the same speed as a Miata. I gave a thumbs up to the driver to make sure he was okay. He gave me a thumbs up, and then I kind of got a little sideways coming out of there to do something cool. I stand behind my decision. I think it was safe. I mean, the guy can say whatever he wants, and I respect his decision, but respect his comment. But that's another explanation for people that saw that. But again, it was just a total shakedown of the car. You don't go 10 tenths. You don't. It'd be one thing if you were to take a C6 Corvette, and the formula's there, coilover, spherical bearings, yada yada yada. Do everything that you want to do, and go shake it down. It's just to make sure something doesn't fall off the car. It's not shaking down a completely new platform. This, name another car like this. Like literally name another car like this with this exact setup. Okay? And you're responsible for it. I'm not stupid. I'm not going to go out there and go 10 tenths until we know. Because had I done exactly what everyone was saying, they were being like, oh, it's so depressing, you only went 4 tenths. If I had done what the commenters were saying, we would have had a wasted engine. Because the oil pressure did drop initially. We fixed it. It was an easy solution. But that's why you shake it down. I mean, again, we don't know what the braking force is going to be. Would you drive a car 175 miles an hour into 10A at Road Atlanta? If you're not familiar with it, go watch a lap. Would you do that if you didn't know what the braking force was like? Or would you back it up a little bit, maybe midway down the track, test your braking force and figure it out from there? That's what we were doing, going down the front straightaway. Once I knew I was ready to kind of lay a lap down, I lifted early and got on the brakes hard initially to see what that braking force was going to be like. I did it with enough runoff where if something goes wrong, we know what's going on. So again, I mean, I get it. I know it looked like it wasn't, you know, setting the world on fire, and it's because it wasn't. It was a freaking shakedown. We're going to go back out to the track now that we know we've learned a few things. We know what we want to do and go see what happens next. But, and yes, also I am Kenny Powers. So I know there's a lot of comments asking if, you know, the dude is Kenny Powers that's driving. Yes, I do have a mullet. I think it's beautiful. And
so what are you going to do this weekend?
So this weekend, because I clearly don't know how to drive a stick shift, because remember, I don't know how to reach, and the gear selector's in the wrong place and yada. Thankfully, we've got a bunch of Porsche Cayman GT4 race cars, and they're just paddles, so I think I can figure out how to do that. But if I do get some video, I would like to upload it and ask people's...
Where are you going?
Circuit of the Americas. Sorry, I forgot to mention, I fly out tomorrow.
And what's going on out there?
So it's a Cinefest. So a bunch of McLarens. There's going to be, I think, 13 McLaren Sennas, a few P1s, and Aston Martin Vulcan. Our team's going to be running. Mark Martin's got this program going on with these GT4 Porsches, so doing a bunch of testing. So we're going to jump back and forth between a couple Cayman GT4 race cars and just hot lap them all weekend and run over some McLarens.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that, again, it's like...
That's what you call living the dream right there.
Well, it doesn't suck. And, but again, we're testing tires on the car, so probably not going to set a track record. So it's not going to be impressive, but we're going to learn a lot about the tires and learn a lot about the cars. But I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that have some critiquing for us, which is great. I need the critiquing because I don't know really what I'm doing. I don't know why you let me drive your car.
All right, so the plan is we're gonna go out to Barber in October. Now that this thing is pretty much squared away, we've figured out what we need to make changes to, like better brake pads and, you know, tighten up some of the aero components. We're gonna get some new tires on it. We're gonna go to the Michelins now.
Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe the Pirelli DH. We'll see. We're
Either
gonna click
or.
the boost up a little bit. He's gonna run this thing around Barber. We're gonna go out there during the Porsche Club meet.
Yeah, PCA, October, Barber, sometime in the end of October, I should
So
know.
we'll let you know an exact date. Anybody wants to come out and hear this thing scream, that's going to be the time to do it. So, hell yeah, man. I want to thank Bryan for driving this car, all of his help. You know, I met him here 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And this car would never be what it is without his help. He's taught me so many things about what to do, what to put on the car, how to set it up correctly. And, you know, he's also been very inspirational. He works his ass off. He's always studying, reading, driving, practicing. I mean, I've never seen anybody work harder in my life. And when you surround yourself with people like him, things come true that you're trying to get done. And so, you know, I really appreciate it, man.
Dude,
So,
I'm just glad I had the opportunity because this thing's sick, dude. Not bad for a car built in a storage unit.
how did it sound out there?
Ridiculous. I mean, unbelievable sounding and feeling and everything. I don't even know. I mean, y'all saw the video, saw how stoked I was when I got out of the car. I mean, it's like, I don't think I've ever run that far in 10 years, man.
All right, well, we're going to do it again, man. So,
Dude, y'all, October, Barber.